Good morning. The litany we heard about the work of God in the book of Joshua, where it's this lengthy recollection of the story, is one that I think we need to have, and we need to share as we impart the faith to our kids and our grandkids. The story of how God has worked in not simply our own lives, but in the lives of our parents and grandparents, in the lives of our families, and in the community, in the United States, in the world. It's one that I think, because of for various reasons, we've lost a connection to, and it's created, I would say it's created a situation where our high school students and our college students are just really interested in bailing on their faith and even on their citizenship as Americans and as sort of, people in a cultural tradition, because the counter narrative has been promoted as a sort of the story, the story of all the bad things the church has done. The Crusades. I'm not honoring. I know these are complicated matters, frankly, but it would be like, it's like a Crusades, Inquisition, sex abuse scandal. Drop the microphone. Why are we here? Shut it down, right? Or slavery, Jim Crow, third thing, drop the mic. Let's refound the country, right? And those things aren't untrue. Well, again, they're all, especially the church stuff, they're complicated historical dynamics. But the thing is, God, the saints, we celebrate Pontian and Hippolytus today, a pope and a priest who were martyred a long time ago. But tomorrow is Maximilian Kolbe. But Maximilian Kolbe has this extraordinary story, but he was on the shoulders of others before him and others before him. And while in a certain sense, Father Mike Schmitz in his Bible in your podcast mentioned this week, God doesn't have grandchildren. So in a way, we all have to embrace the faith and let it live in us each generation. We nevertheless get strength to give the seed of faith time to gestate in our souls through the witness of our parents and grandparents. And the fact of the matter is, the church and the United States, and they're very different stories, but the church, through her saints, has, and through her miscellaneous average people for 2,000 years, has facilitated some of the most glorious things imaginable. More glorious from the standpoint of art and architecture and music and lives in the saints than could ever have been expected. And I can say that, and okay, beyond that, a willingness to suffer, a willingness to die in witness, a willingness to surrender one's life for the truth, a willingness to bear the hard teaching, such as the one we heard in the gospel today, and not simply to grit and bear it and suffer, but no, to see that a marriage between a man and a woman for an entire life until death do us part is actually a thriving dynamic, a facilitation, a potential for thriving in the absence of those strictures that are that Jesus reminds us of, that thriving would be not possible. Again, I was thinking about, like, for me, my own grandparents and their witness, and just hearing, and I mentioned this in Sunday homilies, at least in my parents too, but like hearing about my grandfather, thinking about becoming he was in the Capuchins for like a long time before he was never ordained or anything, but before he just turned out, but that my grandfather would want to be a religious was like information. Another, on a different side of my family, I was as a probably like 23-year-old kid, really, still, and I was at the Latin Mass in a pew, and at the end of Mass, this woman comes up to me, who is my grandmother's first cousin. My grandmother had been dead for a long time by then, and this woman is now gone to God too. And she said, "Our family came from Germany for the faith." So her grandfather, this woman's grandfather would have been my whatever grandfather, and it was like, yeah, they came here, they got jobs, whatever they did, they put roofs on houses and things. Now they're all, whatever my cousins, second cousins, third cousins do. But the impetus for their arrival was our faith. And that was good. That was news for me, but it was helpful. So again, and sorry for the long reflection here, but we need to, the story isn't gonna not have leaks. It's not gonna, maybe there are invariably like shadows and whatnots in our personal adventure of faith, in our family's adventure of faith. But we need to know it, and we need to share it, and we need to encourage the people that we love to know it and share it, because it's fading away, and it's going to be hard to get back.